Having played Helen Keller, where I beat up a grown-up, that was very therapeutic for me, but it was not the absolute answer. The manifestations started with the depression. Didn't get out of bed for months at a time except to go to the bathroom or attempt suicide. Then the surge upward would happen. And then I spent all of my money and anybody else's that I could, and did things that were really kind of scary.
That was my interview with Patty Duke on this program in 2011. She was describing there her bipolar disorder. It's a mental illness, a common mental illness, in which, as she described, you get severe depressions, really severe depressions many times. Bipolar 1 is also associated with manic episodes in which people, as she said, they become hyperverbal, they don't sleep much, they have excessive energy, they spend a lot of money, they're hypersexual, and they start to think rather grandiose things about themselves, and if they're not treated, they will actually disconnect from reality. Patty Duke died today. She was 69 years of age. She was a wonderful woman. If anyone ever had a chance to speak with her, you know, I grew up with her television shows, and she, of course, was the miracle worker. She played Helen Keller.
Portrayed Helen Keller.
But speaking to her, I spoke to her a couple times. That was one of my interviews, and I was so impressed. I mean, she is just such a lovely woman. Now, the cause of death appears to have been sepsis from an intestinal rupture, which to me means she had what's called a small bowel obstruction, where the bowel twists for various reasons on itself. The blood supply gets cut off. The bowel ruptures into the abdominal cavity, and all that material is very contaminated and full of bacteria, causes peritonitis, causes sepsis, renal failure, death.
Is it sudden? Would she be in pain?
It sounds like she was doing well very recently. It can be rapidly progressive, where people get, it's very, very painful when it comes on, and the peritonitis certainly is
It's the same thing when your appendix bursts, right?
It is the same idea. It just can be a little more catastrophic. She was she's an Oscar winner. She was a mental health advocate. She was one of the first public figures to discuss mental health and their own personal struggles, particularly. And remember when she went public with that? Do you guys remember that? It was a big deal.
That's how I know her. I don't know her so much as an actress other than Helen Keller. I know her as somebody that shared her story and made me feel more comfortable about talking about like my general anxiety disorder and things like that. So for her to be so transparent about having bipolar disorder, to me, kind of destigmatized it a little bit.
So you guys, Sam and I share a generalized anxiety disorder. I have panic, though. You don't have
I panic too.
See, when I got in front of the Staples Center, my panic came on.
That's why I felt it. I think I'm an empath too.
Do you guys have any questions about Patty or the way she?
Well, I think I see a lot.
You just sang the Patty Duke song for me.
Well, I was a I was a child actor, for many years.
Right. No
and
wonder.
so I noticed that a lot of kids that were in the business that then have this taken away from them, that suddenly the limelight is gone. Then they turn to other things like alcohol, drugs, sex addiction, all kinds of things in order to give themselves some of that feeling that they had when the high of everyone telling you how great you are and how wonderful it is and you're on TV and all these things. So I can
She did not. She did not turn. Well, she may have had a little bit of a substance thing. I don't know, but she really did not. She turned to advocacy, which is really why she was such a wonderful woman and had such a flourishing life ultimately. And she did plenty of performing and enriched all of our lives in many ways.